Hello, finally, and welcome to Meet the Lesson Locator. I'm Larry Goldfarb, just in case you don't know that. And today, I'm going to tell you about the lesson locator. First, I'm going to tell you about Larry's Law. Larry's Law says to err is human, but to really mess things up requires a computer. I'm so sorry. My computer crashed right as we were starting, and anyways, it's just been one little mess after another. I apologize for that. Apologize for keeping you waiting, but let's get started. Today, I'm going to tell you about the lesson locator. The lesson locator is a project that started about 10 years ago with Anastasi Siotos, Richard Ehrman, and I getting together once a month to think about what kind of database we would want, what questions would we want it to answer, how would we like to find lessons. And that came partly out of my experience of people coming up to me at advanced trainings and workshops and cocktail parties, Feldenkrais teachers, of course, and saying, do you know that lesson where you're lying on your side and your head's turned to the ceiling and your arm is moving one way and your eyes are... Sometimes I knew the answer. I mean, I'm from the pre-AY generation. I mean, when I started, there were no Alexandrian eye lessons available, and we had hardly anything, right? And so my memory of lessons, I always tell people this, and it's true. It's related to the ceiling I was looking at when I did the lesson. That's kind of my filing system. And who was teaching? I hear their voice. So often I know the lesson, but I don't know the AY number. I'm getting better at that. And it was Richie Ehrman was my friend who I would always call up and say, do you know the number? And he had an incredible memory. Said had because he passed away about a year and a half after we started the project. And it took me a while to get rebooted before I could kind of face it again. When I did, I asked Nafi Fischbacher, who will be joining us in a little while, if she would be the project manager. And then 5 years ago or so, we asked about 80 people around the world to join us in a test run. And at that time, we had grandiose and unrealistic expectations. I mean, we were naive, about how databases work. And we had an idea of what we wanted it to do. Anyways, we spent a few years trying to figure out how we could analyze lessons, how we could make a kind of a reduction of the lesson, like an outline that we could then use in the database. And that turned out to be incredibly educational. And one of the things that we learned is how hard it is to do that, and how each of us have our own personal understandings of what a lesson is and how difficult it is to capture what actually goes on in a lesson. I mean, it was amazing. Whoever did one of these outlines, synopses of the lesson, I mean, we were just inaccurate. Some people added a rest at the end of every section of the lesson, whether there was one there or not. Some people ignored breathing indications, to notice your breathing. I mean, and by some people, I don't mean you, I mean me. I mean, I was just as much liable to do that as anybody else. So that was educational, and it turned out that what we were asking the database to do, was too much. So we've continued to work on it, and what we're going to show you today is how to use the lesson locator. The lesson locator is an online card catalog. If you remember, in the library there were these. That's the logo, right? For the lesson locator, there were these card catalogs with little drawers, and there's like an index. You would find the book you were looking for. It would tell you if you're in the States, the Dewey Decimal Number, where to find that on the shelf so you could find a book. And the lesson locator serves exactly the same function. That means it will tell you where to find the lessons that you're looking for. I'll show you how that works. But before I do, the books are not in the card catalog. They're not in the index. And the lessons are not in the card catalog. They're not in the lesson locator. What we have done is that we've partnered with the IFF. So if you're an IFF member, if you log on to your account on the IFF website, before you search the lesson locator, as you'll see in a minute, what will happen is that you will, when you do a search, you'll get a button that says, buy this now, and that will take you to the IFF website, where you can, if you don't own the lesson already, immediately buy the download for, it's $1.75. It's pretty reasonable. So you can find the lessons, and then you can go there and get them. In order to access the lesson locator, you need a Mind in Motion online account. Mind in Motion is my website, and my official title for the project is Instigator in Chief. I'm also Mind in Motion is the patron. The lesson locator is a public service that we're doing for the community of Feldenkrais teachers and practitioners around the world. And so there's no cost. There's no cost for the account. You get some other freebies as well on the website. And there's no cost for using the lesson locator. We can use help building the next part of it. And Nafi and I will talk to you about that later. But it's absolutely free. Or as one of my friends likes to say, it's the best price in the world. Free 99. Nothing. You can, the lesson locator, hi Catherine, I just saw your question. The lesson locator is not on the IFF website, it's on the Mind in Motion website. That's why you don't find anything on the IFF website, but we'll show you that in a minute. So I posted, oh my gosh. All right, I posted a poll on here, and yesterday it was 2/3 of the people who had a problem finding lessons. Today it's 100%. So I don't know what that means, but that's good to know. I'm just gonna take a look at no questions yet. You can ask questions in the feed. Yeah, people who are on the original site did not get emails to re-register. Hopefully, Nafi's suggestion of how to get there, well, they'll find out how to get there. If not, we will send them a link to this recording. Today has just, well, yesterday, all that worked fine. Today has just been a fiasco, but people will get a recording. So if you're seeing the recording, sorry about the mess. Glad you're catching us now. So here, I'm going to share my screen, and let's just take a minute to do that. There we go. So here is here's the website, the Mind in Motion website, and like I was saying, in order to get an account, you just need to go to the website and sign up if you don't have one already. If you do have one, what will happen is when you go to the lesson locator here in the top part, the top menu bar, you'll see two choices: learn more and search now. If you don't have an account, you'll only see learn more, but let me show you how the lesson locator looks. So there's the lesson locator. We have a bit of a description up on the top here, which tells you a little bit about the lesson locator. It tells you that some of the data that we have, as you'll see in a minute, comes from the kindness of Evert Laser, one of our colleagues in Sweden, who was generous enough to share her website, or I'm sorry, her database with us, because she had data about the position that the lessons were done in. And so it's not complete, and it's not exactly accurate all the time, but we put it in there just to give you an idea of what's possible and what we'd like to do next time. Before you use the lesson locator, I would suggest that you go to the IFF website. Here, actually, let me log out there. So the IFF website is feldenkraismethod.org, right there, feldenkraismethod.org. And if you go there, you can log in if you have an account. If you're a member of your local, your national guild or professional association, you can get a free IFF account, which, by the way, is good for many things besides being able to buy AY lessons. You can access all of Moshe's functional integration videos from 1980 and 81 from the Amherst training on the website. And it's also free. So I highly encourage you to both join your local association and get an IFF account. So here, let me log into my IFF account. When you've logged into your IFF account, you will see your name up on the top, and you will also see log out. That will let you know that you're logged in. This is really important to do before you do the search if you want to be able to have a direct link to buy the lesson. So once again, here we are at the lesson locator. Let me get rid of that content. So the lesson locator allows you to do simple searches, right? So for instance, I could look for the word pelvis. Oops, I could put my cursor in the right place. I could look for the word pelvis. And if I did that, or when I do that, what will happen is that the locator will go through all 550 Alexander Yanai lessons, and it will look at the title and at the entire text content of the lessons. All of the texts are in the back end of the website. They're there for the search. We can't give you access to them, but that's how we find out. That's how the lesson locator finds the answer to where this is. Now, there are 10 results on each page. And now you can see there are 44 pages here, down here at the bottom, 44 pages where Moshe uses the word pelvis. Either it's used in the title of the lesson or it's used somewhere in the text of the lesson. That is a lot of lessons. So, there's, okay, that's the 44th page. So we now know that there are 391 lessons, no, 441 lessons in which Moshe uses the word pelvis. So that's not going to help very much. We could, let's start over. We could make the search a little bit more specific. So we could search for the word pelvis. And we could search for that in any one of the volumes. So here we have all 11 volumes of the AY lessons. So let's just see how often Moshe uses the word pelvis in volume 2A. So that would be lesson 26 right on. Oh, no, 2A, sorry, 51 through 75. There we go. So there's some of the lessons, and actually, let's see. He uses the word pelvis there's 3 lessons on the last page. So there's 20 on the first 2 pages, 23 out of the 25 lessons. So that's not going to help very much. If we wanted to, I'm just going to start over at every search to make sure that I'm getting a clean search. Let's see, pelvis and Alexander Unite 2A, and then let's select a position, like let's say lying prone. So these would be all the lessons in volume 2A in which Moshe says, in which the student is lying prone, in which the word pelvis appears either in the title, oh, there we go, or in the text of the lesson, and the student is lying prone. So there's 3 examples of that. You could search for any word. So for instance, Nafi's favorite search, I know she's listening, is the word money. And so here, if I search the lesson locator for money, I'll get all 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 lessons in which Moshe says that. Now, the current state of the lesson locator is it tells you the lesson, then you have to go and either look through the text if you have it at home or buy the lesson, and then look through the text to find it. So if you wanted to buy the lesson, if you didn't own it, you would just click here on buy the lesson. If you're already logged in, then you can very simply buy the lesson immediately. It costs $1.75. That's a bargain. You can add it to your cart, and once you're ready to buy it, you can view your cart. Oh, I think I did a previous search here. Let me get rid of the previous lesson. So let's say I just wanted to buy this lesson, and then I would proceed to the checkout. And here in the checkout, you can fill in your billing details, add your credit card information, and then you will get almost immediately a PDF from the IFF. So we're doing this in conjunction with the IFF, in part to help make Moshe's lessons more available, to make them opaque. I mean, right now it's like we have a library, without a card catalog, and it's amazing. That not all the titles of the lessons are correct, right? Moshe used the same reel-to-reel tapes over and over again. Sometimes he didn't erase the previous title. So we have a title from a previous lesson as a title for the lesson. Sometimes, here, let's go back to the lesson locator. Sometimes they were half erased, so the titles are kind of meaningless. If you've looked through your AY lessons, you will know that the most popular title for a lesson is continuation. I think there are 17 lessons called continuations. That's just vague. So in a way, we have a library where you would have to read the whole library and remember everything in order to know what's in it. The lesson locator is an alternative to doing that. Okay, let me show you some other searches. You could put any phrase that you want in here. So let's say I want to look for the word, seesaw. If I put the phrase in quotation marks, if I put a word or in quotation marks, it's going to look for that exact word or phrase, right? So if you were looking for, like lie on your back, it would find that. Let's try a different search. That's seesaw. If I put the words seesaw breathing, oops, let's try that again. Seesaw breathing in with the quotation marks around it. This will find every example where Moshe used the term seesaw breathing in teaching a lesson, where it appears in a transcript, or, oops, where it was used in the title. So we can see here that Moshe never used the term seesaw breathing, at least not in the AY lessons. All right, so there we have an example of the stuff that's going on. Let me come back to you all in the webinar here, and I'm going to invite. Oops, let's look at the questions first. Oh, Catherine, if you are on the IFF website to find the AY lessons, first of all, you need to log in, and if you want, I can show you that afterwards. Okay. Yeah, Catherine, Nafi already answered your question. So hopefully, here, let me start answering. So, Catherine, if you're still listening, the lesson locator is not on the IFF website. It is on the Mind in Motion website. So that's how you have to find it, is by getting an account on our website, on the Mind in Motion website, and then you can search for the AY lessons. If you're on the IFF website, if you want to find the AY lessons, you first need to log in with your account. And then Daniela asked, yes, Daniela asked if only the AY lessons are on the lesson locator. And right now they are only the AY lessons. But you know what? Let me invite Nafi to join us. And we can answer that question together. So just give us a second, and she will be online with us. She is.
Hi.
Hi, Nafi.
Howdy.
So glad you could make it. It's nice to see you in your office.
Yes.
So, like I said, Catherine, you keep asking about the IFF website. You have to log into the website before you see the store. You have an account, okay? And then, Nafi, how about answering Daniela's question, since I've been talking all along here, which about that she says, are there only AY lessons in the lesson locator?
Yes. Daniela, we are, okay. Our goal is to have all the lessons that Moshe taught available on the lesson or to be searched on the lesson locator. And if you or any of your friends have transcripts of lessons that...
Wait. No, don't say that.
Okay.
That's really, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off. That's kind of out of order.
Okay.
We're coordinating with the IFF.
Yeah, I can talk about that.
And yeah, you got to say that first, because otherwise you're going to be deluged.
Okay. We are currently coordinating with the IFF, and they are going to make digital copies of the lessons that they have available to us. So the process is not, there's a certain amount of digesting that the website needs to do to make those lessons actually available to be searched. So we're in the process.
So, like right now, if you buy an AY lesson from the IFF, you get a PDF. PDF is an image; it's not a searchable file. So we had to get the actual text files from the IFF, and then we had to make them searchable. All of the paragraphs and all of that stuff and titles, all of that has to be deleted. And then we need a text document. And then that's actually put into the back of the search engine, which does a bunch of searching ahead of time, so that when you search, all of that is available. I mean, just the 550 AY lessons, there are hundreds of thousands of pages of this pre-done searches there, so it doesn't take forever to find the answers. That's just how the search engine works. And so the IFF is going to provide us with the other lessons that they have. What Nafi was referring to is that there are some workshops of Moshe's that have not been transcribed. For instance, the workshop that he taught in Holland, or the Esalen lessons. Right now, we have the notes from the Esalen workshops, which is what we've been, going off of. And Richie Ehrman, no, he didn't do those notes. He did the other notes. There's no updated version of those notes available. So we would like to make a transcript of those so that it becomes searchable on the website. That's something that we've talked to the IFF about organizing, is the lessons that don't have transcripts. That's a complex process because the transcripts have to be created and then they have to be checked so that they're accurate. So right now what we're doing is we're working with the IFF to get the documents that they do have, and we're going to add those onto the lesson locator as we go along. Catherine, I see that you logged in, and I'll tell you, I don't know anything about the IFF website. If you have questions or problems, if you click the little email icon there on the IFF website, it will tell you how to get in touch. Oh, okay,
Good.
cool.
Okay.
Got it. All the better.
So Larry, I wanted to just say one thing about the seesaw search back on the lesson locator. So when I first did the seesaw search, I was doing seesaw breathing, came to realize that there are no lessons in the AY. There are no AY lessons that include that phrase. So I just searched seesaw, spelled SEESAW, and as you, I think, saw in the results, there was one lesson titled that had SEE-SAW in the title. So then I put that in quotes and went and searched again and found lessons that I hadn't found before. So every once in a while, you may find that spelling, I mean, I don't imagine there are a lot of examples like that, but keep that in mind.
Well, it's a computer. It can't read your mind, which is probably a good thing. So it's only going to search for exactly what you put in there. And part of it is that when people created the transcripts, nobody was searching for consistency about the terms, right? And so that's a term that got put in more than one way. And it's also, the transcripts are a translation of the transcripts from Hebrew. And so we have the original transcription from the Moshe speaking to Hebrew, and then the translation into English. So there's a bunch of places where things could be missing, or things could be inaccurate. I mean, it's kind of interesting that Moshe never said seesaw breathing. Yeah. I said to Nafi, that's like, what was the example? I can't remember it. Oh yeah, play it again, Sam. Because that line is never said, but people think it's said in the movie. But it's kind of our play it again, Sam. Moshe never says that. Now, whether he says seesaw breathing other than in a title, like in the book or somewhere, a title that we gave to something after he passed away or not, well, we won't find that out until we have all the lessons in there. So I think there's another question. So let's answer. Okay. Elizabeth asks, will the Amherst lessons be added in the future? The future is not in our control, but I am hoping that the Feldenkrais gods are listening, and yes, we plan on doing that. Um, once they're available, in order for them to be available, that also means the text has to be available. So once you find the lesson, once you find what lesson you're looking for, you can actually go and find the actual transcript of the lesson. So as those transcripts are being created, then we'll put them in the lesson locator, and we'll put the entire training in the lesson locator, not just the lessons, but the entire transcripts, which means anything that has a title for it, you should be able to find. And so hopefully you'll be able to find talks of Moshe's as well once that's in there. Nafi?
No. What?
Okay. No, I was just waiting to see if you had something to say.
No.
Okay, cool.
Um,
we're and look, we're also there. There's the San Francisco training, there's the Amherst training, there are the London notes. There's all this material that exists there. The IF, my understanding is that the family has given the IFF the rights to the Moshe's material, and they also asked, the IFF is acting for the family, the remaining members of Moshe's family, as their agents. So they've been incredibly supportive of this project, and in a way we've made a front end to the lesson so people can find Moshe's material. Just our aim here, part of the greater aim of developing community and promoting our education as teachers and promoting the method. And we continue to work together to add more materials. So it's coming down the pike. Okay, thanks, Catherine, for finding that out. I'm a little busy, so I can't look right now, but I will take your word for it. If you send me a screenshot, that would be great, because I'll write a blog about it. Something else you want to say, Nafi?
Oh, well, I guess one thing is if you want to reach us for any reason, we do have, well, the email address was on the invitation, I guess, that most people saw. I'll write it down.
I'll write it down.
Okay.
You're talking.
Okay.
I can do it.
So as Larry said, this is a community project, and we would like as many people as have the time and energy to participate in any way that they can. We are working on a questionnaire, a list that would help lead you in a direction that might be beneficial for you. We want you to be able to do something that you enjoy doing. That's the important thing.
Yeah, and we are looking for we're looking for help with the next phase of the lesson locator. So right now you can search by title, you can search by the volume, you could search by the lesson number. I didn't show you that, but you can search by the lesson number. You can do combination searches. You can search for a word or for a phrase. Like, I don't think he's shown me the money, right? That's the movie. But I mean, he banged. What is it? I don't know what the line is, but if there's a line that you remember from Moshe,
yeah,
you could search for that exact line if you're sure of the words, or you can search for any words in there. We would like to make the position information more useful. Ava has a bunch of things in there like eyes, which are not really position. It was just, I think, her way of setting up her database. So we would like to make that more rigorous. So you could find a lesson that had lying on the back or lying on the side, or a lesson that went from lying on the back to lying on the side to sitting. You could even search for that transition. So that's one thing we'd like to do. We'd also like to make it so you can search by what's moving, right? So if you were looking for a lesson where you're moving your eyes, a student is moving his or her eyes, or eyes and pelvis or whatever, you could search for which body parts are being instructed to move. And that's a useful search because that's how we remember lessons. It's a useful search because it's also relatively easy, and we can make it so you can search for one body part or several. And then, so we have position, body parts, and configuration. So position talks about the student's relationship to the surface they're on, the floor or the chair, or they're upside down or whatever. We also want to talk about the student's position to herself or himself. So their relationship to themselves. So if I put my arm around my head, right, that would be a configuration. I'll step back a little bit. That would be a configuration. You can see my cool Feldenkrais shirt. And so that's a configuration. Or if I hug myself, like in coordinating flexors and extensors, I hug myself this way. Or there are some lessons where you kind of hug yourself more this way, where you're holding, it's more an I Dream Genie hug than a around your shoulders hug. Well, you would be able to look for the configurations in the lesson, right? Legs crossed over each other, whatever it is. So that would be another way to search. And then the last thing we're going to add is to be able to search by what the lesson is about. So not what the lesson's for, so not whether it's for swimming or running or being upside down, but what the lesson's about in terms of, is it about folding? Is it about folding and arching? Is it a lesson about making circles? So that's something that we're still working on, and we are actually going to do some community events about that where people can participate and give us feedback and have conversations. We're going to do that in a different format, not here, so you will be able to see each other and talk in small groups, because we think that's just an important topic and not such an easy one. I remember talking to Hava Shalev about this project years ago, and she said, "Oh, I already did that." I'm like, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, when I was teaching, I think at the dance school in Israel, she said, I couldn't make sense out of all the lessons, so I made my own table out of the lessons and the positions." And I said, "Oh, great! Would you share that with us?" She says, "Of course." Then I saw her a year later, the next conference, and she yells across the room, "I haven't forgotten." She said, "But I'm not ready to give it to you." I said, "Well, if it's a issue of translation, I'm sure we can get people to help." She said, "Well, it's not translation." She said, "I looked at my notes and I looked at what I put under the functions of the lesson, and I don't agree with myself anymore." So, this question of what the function of a lesson is it's not so easy. But we've got an idea of how we can parse it, of how we can make it so that it would be really easy to choose. So that's the next iteration, right? That each lesson will have a more robust set and more extensive set of searches that you can do. That's I think, to speak contemporary American English, I learned a new term in the last few weeks. That's a shit ton of work. I don't know really how you measure that, and it sounds like a sticky process, but it's a lot of work. So we plan to do this as a community crowdsourcing project where any teacher, practitioner, trainee around the world will be able to log onto the website, choose, we'll start with the AY lessons, one of the AY lessons, and kind of sign it out. And then they would go to, we'll have a website for this where they will go there, they'll indicate what positions are in the lesson, and it'll be multiple choice. There's one position or more than one, you'll be able to choose them. the lesson is about transitions between these lessons or not, or these positions or not. So you'll be able to find lessons where you are in different positions or lessons where you go to different positions. And then they'll be able to choose which part of the body are moving off of a checklist. They'll be able to choose what the configurations are and what the lesson is about. Once that's done, somebody else on the team will check it and make sure that it's correct. And if once everybody agrees, then we will just inject that lesson into the website. So it'll be a live, ongoing process of adding more data to the website. And as we add more lessons to the lesson locator, then we'll do that with every lesson that we add. That's really the only way that we can imagine doing this, because well, it's been a lot of work to get this far, and we just need to ask for, you know, the help of the rest of the community. The project will always be free. You know, the idea here is that it's something that we're doing for each other, and I'm hosting it because, well, you know, personally, because I think it's the best, the expeditious way of doing this. You know, we've had a great working relationship. Nafi and I, Serge Mascaro, who is just graduated from the training in Munich, who's a new practitioner who's been working closely with us on the steering committee. And out of the 70, 80 people that we asked, there were over 30 people who participated in the test project. And it's been kind of great to do this on our own, you know, and to do this outside of the political sphere of the Feldenkrais world. Not, I mean, I am a, you know, the reason there's a link to the IFF website is because we want to support, we want to support the method, and we want to support the IFF, and we want to support the amazing work that all of the national guilds and associations are doing around the world. So this is not an either or choice. It's not an us and them thing. It's kind of, we're all in the same boat together, right? And the website and the lesson locator are available to anybody who has studied the method, whether it's in a guild training, in an ABM training with Mia or with Yohanan, because they're all part of the family. And I'm just noticing what Catherine Goldman wrote here. Hi, Catherine. She's one of my little mates, and she said she suggested having an index many years ago, and it would. She said it would. Somebody told her that it would defeat the nature of the work with using AY. Well, look, you know, I don't know who said that, and I'm not going to try to explain it or excuse it or defend it or whatever. I mean, you know, I don't think keeping the method secret is going to help it in any way. You know, it's just not to our benefit. You know, it's so important to be able to spread the word. You know, there are people like I'm thinking, you know, hi, Ollie Black. I know you're not with us today, but I think you might be watching this. So Ollie is a Feldenkrais teacher who lives near Adelaide, Australia. And she was one of the founders of Circus Oz. And she and many other people got exposed to the Feldenkrais method because they studied mime at the Jacques Lecoq School in Paris. And one of the teachers there, whose name, of course, is going to escape me right now, taught ATM lessons as part of her, as just part of teaching pantomime. You know, she met Moshe in the, whatever it was, the 40s or the 50s in Paris. And that's influenced her whole life. So you know, the method should not be secret. And look, I don't know about you, I've dedicated my life to understanding the method. I did my first ATM lesson 40 years ago. I started the training 2 years after that. And it's taken me this long to understand it. So what are we afraid of? I mean, people are gonna, people want to steal it and use it badly. We can't stop them, and we shouldn't stop the spread of the method just to make sure those people don't have it. It's not possible, and it's draconian. So, anyways, Catherine, all I can say is, what we're doing here is we want to create an alternative to that idea, right? I don't want to fight with people. All I want to do is do something different. That's the aim here. And so please join us in any way you can. We will have, I didn't have it in time for the seminar, but we will have a donate button there. So if people would like to make contributions, so far the project has been funded by me and my compatriot, Nafi. She's helped out with funding some of the programming because we were going to do the programming as a community project, but that just turned out to be too complicated. So I paid for that. Mind in Motion has paid for that. But that's because I think it's important, and that's the only way I could make it happen. I did see Daniela's question about an audio file. You will, at the end of this seminar, get a link to this seminar. And everyone who signed up for the other one and didn't make it here won't get that link, but we will make sure. It's okay, but we'll make sure that they get that on Monday. We're going to also take this seminar and post it to the YouTube so people can find that. We'll have a link to that on our website, so you'll be able to find it. Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, let me tell you, I think everybody who's been involved in this project would say it's been as much of a gift to us as it is to you. I mean, we have learned so much. We've learned so much about the lessons, like I was saying about how hard it is for us to actually appreciate the lessons, and how we filter, what's going on, and that was a humbling lesson. And we've learned so much about teaching lessons from talking about them and trying to decode them. One of the best experiences for me about the method happened through doing the test phase. So when we were creating these perspecti, somebody who's Latin's better will help me, but this number of prospectus that we created, we had to check them, right? Somebody would create a prospectus, and then we had a review committee. Synopses. Oh yeah, did I say perspective?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. More coffee.
That's a solution to everything.
Hey, I didn't even drink coffee this morning because I was just dealing with technical problems. So this is just natural excitement on my part. Really, I haven't even eaten breakfast. My oatmeal is right there waiting. Anyway, so when we made these synopses, someone would review them, and sometimes the reviewer and the person who synopsized the lesson had a question or didn't agree. So we had a review committee. And Ellen Soloway, who is also a graduate of the Amherst training, like I was, and who was was the editor of the lessons, she was on the committee with me. And I have to say that, I mean, excuse me, I'm getting choked up.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about this was that when a question came up, now, I mean, Ellen and I were in the same training, but after that, our trajectories, in terms of who we studied with, Ellen worked with Mia extensively. She worked with Anat. I mean, and I worked with Gabi and with Miriam. I mean, there's kind of a fork in the road. We worked with different people. We didn't overlap in any trainings, but we continued to work in the study. And what was amazing is that every question, and I'm not exaggerating, every question that came up with, we had the same answer to. And that was so wonderful because it was proof to me, the best proof possible that we are practicing the same method, all of us, and that we come from the same roots. If you study the method, if you're engaged in it, if you spend the time, then you understand that there that Moshe, I'm choked up, that Moshe had a methodology, right? That wasn't just one man. There's something underneath it. And the aim of this project and of the other work that I'm doing with advanced trainings and so forth is to share that knowledge, right? I mean, the future of the method is in the hands of the people practicing it. Not just those of us teaching it, but everybody practicing it. And that's what we're after is creating a community and making the lessons understandable. Okay. Other questions? Anybody? You can either ask a question in the question box or just type something in the excuse me, in the chat. Okay. Well, maybe not. All right. Well, I'm gonna say goodbye to you for a moment, Nafi, and I just want to share a picture with you. If this is, I mean, this is my table with my collection of AY notes on it, or my all the AY books there. Hopefully, the lesson locator is going to keep you from spending hours looking through the books and trying to find the lessons that you want. We're we're looking forward to your feedback about how it works. I didn't show you all of the aspects of the lesson locator. There are some there's some pretty cool things here. Let me show you one other thing. So you can search by number. So let's see. Since we know 42 is the answer to everything, let's see what the lesson locator says about that. You can click on search or you can just hit return. If I search for 42, I will get every lesson that has number 42 in it, whether it's 42 in 428 or 42 in 242 or just lesson number 42 right there. If I'm interested, I can export the search results. So if I click on export search results, that will give me an Excel file. And let me just expand that out. Whoops. Okay, so let me just expand that. So there you go. You can see all the titles. And whoops, a little bit bigger. And the lesson numbers. Now, one of the things about the current thing is that you can't put the lessons in numerical order, but that's easy to do in Excel. You can search by number and you can change the numbers. If you do that, you want to ignore that and just click here, and then this will give you the lessons in order right there. So anyways, we don't need to say that. So there's the ability to export the files if you'd like to see them. I think that's pretty much it. So hopefully you've gotten something about how to use the lesson locator here. We told you a little bit about the background of what we're doing. We'll told you what we'll do next. You will, if you're on the seminar, get a link to this pretty much immediately after we're done, to the video. If you want to watch it again, please know we're also going to be sending information out to everybody just in case they missed it. But we will, well, I hope you find this useful. I hope you'll use it. And I want to thank you for spending the time today. And I apologize again for the wait we had at the beginning, but I want to thank you for spending the time and finding out more about the project and what we're doing. Okay, well, thank you. Great. You just need to apply for an account. So if you go to the, I'm just going to answer this question. If you go to the Mind in Motion website here, which is, let me just type it in there. You can get an account. And let me take a moment just to show you what you have to do that. So it's pretty easy to do. I'm going to log out. So if you don't have an account on the website, then when you go to the website, you will see request an account right here at the top of the page on the top menu. If you click on request an account, it'll take you to a page with all the we want some basic information. We just need your name, your email address, and you can add a password. There's optional information there. We really like to know what country you're coming from. That's kind of an interesting thing to know. You can apply for 3 kinds of accounts. You can get an Improve My Abilities. Whoops, you're going to get an Improve My Abilities account, which is a public account, which does give you access to the lesson locator. You can get a Become a Teacher account if you want to find out about our training in Amsterdam, which starts in a few weeks. There are a few more places, just in case you know anyone who wants to join. Or you can get a Become a Better Teacher account. And if you fill out the information above and you apply for this, and I suggest you apply for Become a Better Teacher for a professional account, because besides the lesson locator, you'll get the transcripts from the first Strasbourg International Feldenkrais teacher training, which Elizabeth Berenger and I co-directed. And those are the 18 transcripts that the trainees made of the training. They made them for each other. So that's, for the mutual learning of people. I'm not selling those. I'm making those available for free. You'll also get my master's thesis, which I used to sell, but then I found out it's online for free, so that seemed kind of wrong. So you'll get access to that. You'll get a recording from an audio teleseminar I did a few years ago called Why FIs Don't Work, which is all about learning strategies and how different people learn in different ways, and how we as teachers need to adapt our teaching style to the students' learning strategy. So if you apply for that account, you'll go to a page where it asks you to list your training information, what training you graduated from, who the educational director was, what year you started, what year you ended. That's just so we can vet people. And I personally review every application. We have a little bit of a backlog because we've just been swamped with people applying for accounts, but I'll catch up with that in the next day or two. Then you will have your account, and you'll be able to get into the back end of the website. Okay, so that's to answer that question. Thanks, Elizabeth. Okay, I think that's it. So it's been a pleasure. I appreciate your patience and your willingness to join us whatever time it is, wherever you are. And well, happy learning. And you'll be finding out more stuff from us, so please keep an eye out. Please, if you join the website, please confirm your email address. That helps us all. All right, take care. Bye-bye. See you on the floor sometime soon.